Okay, hello everyone. So this is about the next few weeks, what I'm showing you here. I will go through a series of charts which show you the most important building blocks of time, of how things are moving forward. And let's start with new moon. If you haven't seen my previous recording, please go back to it. That's where I speak about the power of today, the 4th of March, and this is just 2 days ago when this cycle started. I mentioned already the big conjunction here, Moon, Sun, Jupiter, and Nessus, which spoiled the show a little bit, made it kind of changed its whole flavor, if you wanted to say. With Sun Jupiter, usually we expect, okay, everything is wonderful, beautiful, expansive, celebratory. This time it's a little different. Actually quite a bit different, because we are seeing the darkness amplified. That's what it really is, particularly also with Okiroi, which is one of these amplifying principles, enlarging, and Okiroi is between Jupiter and Neptune, so Neptune already is in play too here, so there is really this big stellium in Pisces which we are dealing with, which it will be intensifying over the next few weeks as Jupiter gets closer and closer to Neptune, to be exactly conjunct on April the 12th. More on that coming, not now but later, because there's so much happening between now and then. Yeah, I guess we all know it. So a few things I wanted to point out about this new moon chart is, first of all, in Greenwich on the 0 meridian, around exactly 1/7 of the circle above the equator, which is that area of septile energy. The septile is, if you divide one circle by 7, you get an irrational number. The irrational 7 in that sense is giving that fractal opening to the infinite, to the greater universe. So for that reason, it's no accident, as there's no accident in general. It's always synchronicities. It's just words. That's why Greenwich is so important. 0 meridian, naturally, that is pretty obvious, but why on that place, on that meridian, that is the explanation. And again, the northern hemisphere is more important because 9 out of 10 human beings live on the northern hemisphere. The southern is really just a balancing principle. No pun intended to you guys down in Australia, but you are most important because you're counting 9 times more to balance it truly out. So look at it that way. Anyway, what stood out in this new moon chart, aside from this major theme of focusing on the dark, enlarging the dark, Mercury had just its conjunction with Saturn and is here conjunct vertex point, conjunct Astrea. This is super powerful and beautiful. Mercury, first of all, in Aquarius is scientific in its approach. Very rational, can detach from getting emotionally pulled in, truly analytical. Particularly with Saturn. Saturn helps a lot. This is mathematics, this is strategy too. And Astrea is an asteroid linking the inner planets with the outer ones, the personal with the social, collective energies. All asteroids are in that same field, if you want to say, in that same group of planetary objects. They're connecting these two realms. So it's the way we bring our personal power in connection with the collective. That's what they're really about. They're all feminine by nature. That's what they have in common. It's the gray ones which you find here in my charts, and naturally these are just the most biggest and important ones. There's up to 20,000 different asteroids in the asteroid belt. So yeah, just saying. The beautiful thing about it is that as nature is always ordered in a fractal principle, it doesn't really matter how many we include or not. It's like if you just put your microscope on, you will see the same pattern again, and you can even go further into the infinite on that level. You can zoom out and you will see the same patterns. It is that one powerful law in nature which was discovered when fractals became a real thing. I guess that was around in the 1960s or so. Anyway, just saying, Astrea is the goddess who stayed here on Earth long after things had gone bad, was helping people to clear up problems, and she got physically involved by doing the jobs necessary, helping out, very service oriented and ready to tackle bigger problems. So this is a great alignment here of energies. And then if we go back here a little bit into the 5th house, actually this is the 6th house of healing, of service in general, of bringing things together. So this is very, very auspicious. And then naturally we have here this big conjunction, which is still super active. By now Venus and Mars are slightly past Pluto, and will enter Aquarius jointly on the 6th of March. We are getting to that in a few minutes. But this, what we call a applying conjunction. So Venus and Mars are moving towards Pluto. So this is describing the pressure we feel right now. It's kind of short before hitting the wall. The energies are building up, and Venus-Mars is the energy of creation. Interesting enough, Venus-Mars has had 3 conjunctions this time, because Venus had been moving backwards for a few weeks, too, because it came into between Earth and the Sun, which made it appear going backwards for a few weeks. For that reason, from Earth's perspective, there are 3 times Venus and Mars are meeting. The first one was back in 2021, and the second one on February the 16th. And that was, as I showed you in my earlier video on the truckers, that happened exactly in midheaven over Ottawa at the time. That was a very creative event, in other words. And it is interesting, just this as a little spoiler, the 3rd conjunction they will have on March 6th will be exactly in midheaven over Kiev. You can go and run with that. Anyway, that's just showing the power of Venus and Mars of creating a new storyline, if you could say. And Pluto naturally is there, having its energies in the game very strongly. Pluto about, on one hand, control and power, that part which has to be abolished, which has to be cleared and refined. And Pluto, on the other hand, as being the planet of transformation and of transfiguration, even of shifting energies in a whole new direction. In the 5th house, and naturally the global Virgo rising here with Orcus at the ascendant, and Earth most exactly, naturally, as the Sun is on the other side. They are always in perfect opposition. When we stand on Earth, we see the Sun in Pisces, vice versa. If we would stand on the Sun, we would see Earth in Virgo. So that gives you another aspect of this present few weeks we are in. It's about to bring down this Piscean energy of, how shall I describe that? It's a universal love. It's an all oneness. It's that oceanic feeling of also getting lost and confused and not knowing where things start and where they end, kind of that limitless, endless energy, all very Piscean, and we are meant to anchor that energy in Virgo, down on Earth. That's why your Earth sign, whichever sign you're born in, your Earth sign is always at the opposite end, and that is extremely important. That is helping you to anchor yourself, to bring down to Earth your qualities and express them in Virgo naturally. That is all about reasonable and methodical approach, one thing after the other. That's definitely a lesson for all Pisces, to be more organized, structured. But also it's a service-oriented energy of healing, of taking care. Virgo, really the sign of the ability to care for oneself, to become one's own parents, to not expect to be given all these extra attentions, but to just knowing how to self-generate. I guess that's one of the powerful things about Virgos. Anyway, this was the new moon, and then I covered the Sun-Nessus conjunction in my last recording. I don't want to say too much about it. Just one thing I want to point out is that 13 degrees Leo here at the midheaven. We will get back to that in a few minutes. Just keep in mind, this is an anchoring moment, Sun-Nessus conjunction, when we pierce most deeply, most intensely into the dark principle of abuse and neglect and all the harm and unjustified terror that is happening on this planet right now on all levels. This is the moment where we anchor this principle globally with the Sun and Jupiter in conjunction, bringing all that expansion into the game, and the Moon and Chiron and Pallas, bringing that knowing, deep knowing that healing has to happen. It is a natural process, and we are embracing it as a reality. That is the beauty of Moon and Chiron when they're together. It is that deep understanding that crisis is healing, is healthy, is necessary. Crisis is the beginning of the breakthrough. And naturally, here in Kiev, as I showed in my other video, the one I just did before, super interesting, again showing that nothing happens accidentally, that this was a major node in history we had to come to. Okay, now we're getting into the next level here, the Venus-Mars conjunction on the 6th, that is the upcoming Sunday at 001 Aquarius. That will be most interesting how this will work out. It pushes the whole narrative into a different dimension. It comes out of Capricorn into Aquarius. and kind of naturally tuning into the field of Jupiter-Saturn conjunction in December 2020. And then Pluto will join in 2023. So this is future-oriented, what we will see happening after the 6th of March. Interesting again that this is still here under this tight Sun Jupiter Nessus conjunction. Now the Sun separating, Jupiter separating. So this is a release phase of these dark energies. It's a time of dispersion, of washing them away, of clearing them, of transforming these frequencies, and at the same time, naturally, it is the Sun also going deeper into the sign of Pisces, together in sync with Jupiter and Neptune too. So it is in that sense, yes, things still get more intense in an emotional way speaking. But at first it is kind of, things get more rational and more extreme too, in a way, because Uranus sign Aquarius is also an extreme sign. It's extremism which is ruled by that energy too. Extremism on all sides, the unusual, the weird, the illustrious, the colorful, something which doesn't fit in. So it will be super interesting to see these two planets simultaneously enter Aquarius, and just hours later having their third and final conjunction before Venus, after one full round, will catch up with Mars again in a couple years or so. So let's look at this chart for a minute on a global level. We have Aries rising, very beautiful, really showing that new start energy, spring, entering a new phase altogether. All cardinal signs, by the way, here at the major angles. This is an interesting point as such. The second degree of Capricorn, that is the solar apex, that is where the whole solar system is moving towards, if we look at it galactically. That's our direction of travel as a whole solar system. With Ischion up here, all about using all our passions to, I should say differently, to upgrade our passions. Ischion is extremely intelligent and able to get anything he wishes for. The story is that at first Ischion was using his powers in a wrong way, truly focused on getting his own desires fulfilled. And I guess the transformation happens once we break through that seal of separateness. Then that passion becomes you're using it in a new way. You're using it in that sense to really bring the unification. So there's lots of passion in it here. Interesting, the moon at 29 degrees here in Aries as well. Anytime the moon is at 29 degrees, it's most certainly void, of course, as it is here. This adds an element of wildness into the picture, of uncertainty, of not really being able to see beyond that wall of fog. So there's confusion, directionlessness, even you could say, in it. Things appear chaotic, and I'm pointing this out because we have a repetition here of this theme of void of course energies. If we just let me see which other charts have that too. There's two others. Right. If we just go forward here a little bit, you see that is the Eris ingress. Actually, this is the one in Kiev. That's the one in. Okay, I think I have not even charted that. That's okay. And then also the Mars-Saturn conjunction on April 5 has that theme again. So this is a repetitive theme we see here now, starting March 6th, of much more uncertainty. Nobody really knows what's coming next. It's a game of trust, a game of allowing that right brain navigation system to kick in, of just going with the moment, going with the flow. And that is the deeper meaning here of that. And as I said, most interesting for Kiev, Ukraine's capital, Venus and Mars, exactly in midheaven here when they have their conjunction. Again, resonating with that Jupiter-Saturn energy, which started a whole new 20-year cycle in the okay, you're not really here to help daddy. Go see mama. Anyway, linking into this Jupiter-Saturn conjunction of 2020. Yeah, which started a new 20-year cycle. So very exciting in that sense. It might be really a point of new creation which is happening over there, whatever that means, similar to what we see with the trucker event in Ottawa. It might not have produced the direct results we were wishing for, but in hindsight, yes, it did really make a big difference, as we saw, as in the wake of all that happening, even though they imposed the Emergency Act and such, and are still hunting down those people who have really been organizing this thing. In the bigger picture, now pretty much everywhere all these COVID restrictions are ditched, and many people probably will feel pretty hurt about that too, that they had to go through all that coercion, and in the end it would not even have been necessary, a learning curve there too for many people, to not cave in too quickly, just to hold the ground and stand strong, and eventually things will change and disappear. And that's what we have seen in Ottawa happening as the center point of world events. Naturally it was. And the same seems to be the case here in Kiev with that conflict, that it brings some most interesting developments which will generate the frequency of something new to become possible. Let's see how this plays out. The void of course moon here naturally in a perfect square opposition with Ceres, who has that ability to change fixed tendencies in amazing ways. The recognition of what is wrong. Yes, it is a great addition here into this big square. And then there's Haumea. Haumea, a very, very interesting Kuiper belt object spins so fast that it looks like an ellipsoid, like a potato in a way. Haumea has been named after a Hawaiian creator goddess of fire, a reformative energy which shifts gears, which shows new directions, new ways of doing things, of seeing things. So it is an enormously creative chart we are seeing here, and it is literally anchoring in that place of global conflict right now, which is super interesting. It will be really quite wild what we will see happening there, and we can expect some real difficult weeks ahead, but nevertheless the deeper theme is much bigger than that momentary experience. Again, as you have to think back of what I said earlier, it is that step up process. The dark energies are committing a crime, which then will allow us to build even higher awareness, consciousness, wake even more people up. Then, just a day after, on the 7th of March, Neptune changes hexagrams. This is interesting. This is entering a new territory of Piscean frequencies. 22, 37, 30, that is the beginning of hexagram 36, which lasts into the 28th degree here. 36, darkening of the light. Now, first of all, I mean, this chart again is pretty epic, and I did chart it here for Kiev. Neptune exactly at the 4th house cusp. We will see quite a few charts in the next few I'm showing you where Neptune has a critical key position, again showing that yes, there's extreme confusion on this planet right now. We're in the middle of a new creation. Nothing is clear. Everything is upside down, it seems. Navigating the invisible worlds. Lots of confusion and naturally fake information, and everything is questionable. Nothing can be taken for granted. Yes, it's blind navigation in a way. And yes, Neptune goes into darkness in that sense. Really explores that phase of being hidden deep down in the invisible world, even more so with Neptune being an invisible guy to start with. So now this will be on for many months to come. Probably also showing in that sense, as everything always flips into its opposite, as Neptune goes into that valley of darkness, it will pop something else open. It will probably pop open the ability to see through things and see beyond. And it is interesting that only hours later there will be a Uranus occultation, the second one of this month. Again, I don't want to go too deep into each chart. I just show you the sequence. You can at any time stop the video and look at the charts more in depth yourself, and you will find many more interesting little aspects of these charts. So this is the second Uranus occultation. There are going to be 15 consequent between January, sorry, I said it wrong. February 1 month ago was the first one, and for 13 times when the moon is, or 15 times even when the moon is in those degrees, early Taurus, where Uranus is, it will disappear behind Uranus for a few hours or something. which will be visible from any place, from particular place, not from any place, but from particular locations on our planet. So what that does is it first of all hides Uranus behind the moon for a while, creating an imbalance in that sense, but also soaking the moon with Uranian energy, because Uranus energies will have to be filtered past directly through the moon to receive Earth's sphere. Again, Neptune. You start seeing the theme here. Here we have in Kiev, Neptune at the 4th house cusp, when Neptune enters this new territory, expressing itself through. And then a few hours later in Greenwich, when the occultation is most exact, Neptune is rising, and the black moon here at the 4th house cusp. Yes, together with chaos, which again speaks of the natural order. Don't get chaos wrong. That's again an inversion which has been implanted in our mental field in the 19th century, as I understand. Before that, chaos was always connected to that Greek mythological character, chaos, the original order where everything is evolving out of. That sacred geometry fractal field. Yes, things get kind of broken down into fractals. It's the defragmenting process, if you want, which is in full swing, particularly as this is opposite the galactic center at 2709 Sagittarius right now this year. That moves extremely slow, 1 degree in 72 years. So okay, and then we have the Sun-Neptune conjunction. How about that? On the 13th, that's a week, 10 days from now. And I'm showing you here the heliocentric chart, because as seen from the Sun, from Earth, sorry, as seen from Earth, Neptune and the Sun are perfectly lined up. Neptune is exactly behind the Sun, actually, to be clear. It's it's the wrong way around here, that way. But what I want to point out again is Jupiter's this time is exactly in midheaven 1541 versus 1543. So by mere 2 minutes of arc, Jupiter exactly in midheaven here. Naturally, Nessus is here too still again, but Jupiter most exact. Okay, what does that mean? Means that this Neptune energy is even more amplified, more exaggerated. The lies will be so outrageous, which we will hear, that they will outdo themselves. I guess we already see that happening. We're getting into even more extreme waters here. So, I mean, the more ridiculous and crazy these news agencies try to twist reality, the more people will wake up. It's just it has to be, and it naturally is that way, showing also in astrology with Mercury here, Mercury the planet of perception here between Arrokoth and Pluto. Just to mention these two, Arrokoth, the one which is allowing us to see the bigger picture, Pluto, which is challenging Mercury to become more smart, to upgrade its levels of seeing all the levels and all the different aspects of reality. Pluto can be very challenging to Mercury. You saw that? Pay attention to this. Don't overlook that. You have to dig deeper here a little bit. There's more to find. That's kind of the energy we are seeing here. So then, this is the heliocentric chart, and heliocentric is always the backdrop. It is the purely energetic background we are in as a whole solar system. What we breathe, what comes in from the sun, that energy which is coded into each photon, that's what we are charting here. Our food, literally our higher frequency food which keeps us alive. As we know, if the sun would go out within 8 minutes, it would be dark here and life would be vanishing within hours. We are on a lifeline here with the sun, and that's the energy we're seeing here. Okay, so March 16, that's then when Chiron and Pallas will have their exact conjunction at 11:23 Aries. Now, why is this important? Because that is where the next new moon will happen. Yes, I said that right. Let's just zoom forward. That is this one here. I'm pretty sure. Yep, here we go. That's the new moon. 11:30. Okay, so this is therefore even more important to realize, to give them enough credit, these two planets here, as they will be fully put in power by the April 1st new moon. Again, I'm repeating myself here. In a nutshell, this is the science of healing. And also, when I say science, this includes the right measures. So Pallas also is related to justice and law, but also to armed conflict, interestingly enough. I mean, it's probably not that far-fetched. Pallas has a sword and a scale and is ready to take serious actions with the sword in upholding the law, the highest law, that everything is back to perfect balance. So in that sense, this is also the signature of that armed conflict, of cleaning out the deep state, literally what it is. I mean, Trump said it clearly. He said, if I would have been president, this would not have been necessary, because then we would have chased those elements down in legal ways. As you probably remember, I mean, it was suppressed by the main news, but Ukraine was a big theme in the last years of President Trump's presidency, as so many things came out about how Biden, when he was vice president, was involved in whatever was going on there, and there's lots of corruption, and all these people have their connections to that country. You probably know all that. I'm not telling you anything new. And if you don't, then just do your research. There's actually a really... I just learned today, Oliver Stone had done a film on the Ukraine situation around 2014-15, I'm guessing. after the color revolution in 2014, where he is showing all the conflicted influences from the CIA and such. Oliver Stone, just look it up. A movie about Ukraine, you will find it. A documentary, I should say. So that is the Pallas Chiron conjunction for Greenwich, and with Sedna here at midheaven, the moon rising, Eurypherois and AW197. It will be the people who are waking up to their powers and realizing that they can shift these energies around in a way that they are self-destructing these dark energies. I guess that's really the signature we see here. Sedna at midheaven, yes, it will be ugly to some degree. Absolutely, it will be difficult. It's that phase of truly recognizing what's wrong on this planet. I guess that's what Sedna is emphasizing here. That same moment for Kiev, no surprise here. The black moon right at midheaven, so really it shows that this is the place where the next big child is born, if you want. The next big breakthrough is happening. The next big event is unfolding in the sense of evolutionary necessity. Makes sense. The sun here at the 7th house cusp, 2602, 2656, so just shyly here, still in the 6th house. The black moon already in the 10th house, so yet it is about them taking down the dark powers. This is really a very clear indication that is what's happening. Also here, the part of fortune here in opposition to the moon. Yes, it is the people finally who are realizing what is truly going on and allowing that power balance to shift, that the awakening is going to colossal levels. That's what Oracle Girl Jacqueline Hobbs has been already predicting in her March message. Those of you have seen it. Between now and the end of May, or she says the supermoon in May, the solar eclipse, there will be a colossal awakening. Okay, this is the full moon then on March 18. Interesting here, this is again the Greenwich chart. We have Rhadamanthus and Varuna here in a most exact T-square with the ascendant. Varuna and Rhadamanthus both are standing up for the truth, fighting for highest standards of justice. So this tells me that yes, there will be some we might call it removal of players who have been doing things which definitely were not helping. So it is justice catching up, very much in sync with what I said about Chiron 2 in hexagram 21 biting through. The full moon here again in an aspect of the galactic center. This time it is a square aspect. This is full moon 7 with a exact angle to the galactic center. This time, as I say, 90-degree angle here to the sun. There will be one more upcoming on the 16th of April that will end this sequence. Whenever the galactic center is involved, this is a strong amplifier. Kind of the backup crew from the universe is here, and then holding us, giving us that additional input surcharge boost which we need to break through into another realm in a greater expanse. And we are really approaching the tail end also from this level. This phase started in pretty much around fall equinox, September the 20th. Yes, that was here where the moon is now pretty much, yes, this was the first one. This is now number 7. On the first one, sun and moon were pretty much exactly in opposite places, naturally. So let's just move on here. I want to just show you now a couple more charts here from Kiev, and let me first zoom back to this one here. The one from today, the chart of the day, Sun Nessus conjunction with 13 degrees Leo at the center of the chart, at mid-heaven. And when we now go to these two charts here, which one was it? Okay, this is the full moon chart for Greenwich, for Kiev, 18th of May. And we have that 13 degrees Leo. So that tells me that yes, this will be the place where that darkness is exposed. And I guess you can add up 1 and 1 here. This is where the dark players will be removed, as all goes back to the Khazarian empire, which is pretty much congruent with what the Ukraine is today. You can do some research on that if you want. It's pretty deep and dark stuff. So this is the full moon in Kiev, and then the upcoming new moon on April 1st. I just found this really super interesting. Again, that same axis. These two lunar events, the full moon of the 18th of March and the upcoming new moon in Aries 11:30 here. Again, that critical degree where Pallas and Chiron had their exact conjunction on, or will have, on the 16th of March. See, these two lunar phases are deeply connected. Yeah, you see here. And that is true naturally on every place on the planet. Whatever is in midheaven on the 18th of March full moon will be again the same degree on April 1st. So these two lunar phases, main lunar phases, are strongly interconnected. In that sense, will be a super interesting month, particularly the weeks from April 1st on, then into April 16. This will be the conclusion in many ways. Again, don't expect immediate what you would call that victory, but huge shifts and turning points. Not all that easy. It will be a difficult time, but again, the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction on April 12th will be the beginning of really the celebratory times and into the solar into then yes, I guess it is the 16th when we have the eclipse. So yeah, keep your feet on the ground, do what is necessary. And last but not least, I want to show you this chart. This is the Mars-Saturn chart, Mars-Saturn conjunction of April the 5th, with Uranus here at the 4th house cusp in Greenwich, and Hygeia here at the top. Yes, it will be shaky. Just accept it. The part of fortune here, together with the Mars-Saturn conjunction. And it is that these planets are in Aquarius Libra dwat between 20 degrees and 2230. That is the Libra region, with the part of fortune still in the no, that they're all in the same one. Yeah, Libra. Okay, that is a good thing to know. That will make this less explosive, this Mars-Saturn conjunction, as it will be resolved in a very balanced and judicial way, if you want, by the book, as Q would say. With the sun here at the 3rd house cusp, yes, this is probably around the time when true disclosure is kicking in big ways, where things are thrown out to truly shake up the public who has been sleeping and snoring so deeply. Let's see. That is speaking of a shaky ground, as I said. The moon together with Sedna, not easy, difficult for sure, very upsetting what will be coming out there. The moon here at the galactic center, this actually will be exact on spring equinox. I guess I have this chart here, that was the one I skipped before. Just want to bring this one in, last but not least. The sun 0 degrees Aries, the beginning of the new round, the natural year, the cardinal point when the sun is exactly above Earth's equator, when days and nights are exactly 12 hours everywhere between North and South Pole. Very powerful moment of rebalancing the energies. And again, we have that void, of course, moon, which I mentioned earlier, so which speaks for the next few months still to be in chaotic territory of nobody knows what's up and down, where's north and south. So just go along with that. It will all work out, particularly with Neptune here at the 7th house cusp. It's just amazing how astrology shows. And the black moon here, as I said, the galactic center, 2709, 2710 is the galactic center. Yeah, be ready. The shadows will get out of their hiding. We will see them in plain sight. Integration is happening. Thank you so much for joining and listening. Maybe the last little bit I wanted to show you here, which I have prepared, is that Mars-Saturn conjunction chart for Kiev. And again, Mars-Saturn here exactly at the ascendant. I guess you can't make it more clear. That's where history is made, and it will be made for at least into the end of the second part of April. Thanks for joining, thanks for listening, and yes, it's all already happened. We have won. The chess match is over. It's just in its final moves, which still have to be played out, but that's where we are. Thanks for listening, and Subscribe if you like. Share it. Thank you.